out, old hags who can't even do housework. My husband and I, who had been living with our eldest son and his wife, were contributing $3,000 to the household every month. But his wife spouted such abusive language at us. We had been subjected to other forms of harassment from her as well. My husband and I were finally deeply angered. We wanted nothing more to do with such a woman, resolved strongly to take our revenge one day. My name is Susie. At 62, I work part-time while also being a homemaker. I live with my same-aged husband, David. David is a serious and kind office worker, so we have a steady income and never had any big fights. We have a son, Lawrence, who is 32 years old. Like his father, Lawrence is a very kind child who has grown up well. After graduating from university, he got a job at a private company and is working earnestly. And 2 years ago, he got married to a woman named Emily, whom he met at the same company. But as it turns out, this Emily was an utterly wicked woman. When we first met Emily, she seemed like a serious and sweet woman. Lawrence also told us, she's diligent at work and she has a good reputation with her superiors. Emily is 6 years younger than Lawrence, and while we were unsure if they could get along well, we thought they would be fine since Lawrence decided to marry her. After their marriage, Lawrence and Emily started living together in a certain apartment. After getting married, Emily said, "I'll take over all the housework for the busy Lawrence," and became a stay-at-home wife. Lawrence seemed to be very grateful for that. "Thanks to Emily doing all the housework, I can focus on the job I love. I'm grateful." My husband and I had no doubt that our son had married a good woman. However, Emily gradually began to reveal her true colors. First, there was a family gathering for the new year where we met Emily. But at first, I didn't recognize that it was Emily. That's because her appearance had drastically changed. The last time I saw her, Emily had black hair and didn't wear heavy makeup. She seemed like a very reserved woman. But now she had transformed into a flashy, pink-hair woman. She was wearing noisy bracelets around her wrists and looked very different from the person I had known. My husband, David, and the rest of our relatives were taken aback by Emily's drastic change. At that moment, Lawrence stepped in to mediate. "I'm sorry if we surprised you. I was also shocked when I came home from work one day to find Emily like this. However, she handles all the household chores well, and we have no issues. Besides, Emily is a full-time homemaker. Can we give her a pass?" After hearing that, I felt a sense of relief. Well, if Lawrence is okay with it, then it's fine by me. I was just surprised because Emily looked so different. It's not right to judge people by their appearance, and it's not my place to complain. After I said that, the rest of my family seemed to agree. Later, we all enjoyed drinking together until Emily caused a scene. She got incredibly drunk and started to verbally abuse everyone around her. "Hey, are you defying me? Back in middle school, I once knocked down 3 classmates at once." It seems that she had a bad habit when drunk. She even lashed out at me and David, shouting, "Stop clinging to life unnecessarily, you old nuisances! No one is happy that you're alive." Her words hurt me deeply. There's a line between what's acceptable and what's not, even when drunk. David looked angry, and Lawrence was quite surprised. "Hey, you're going too far, even for a drunken conversation. Apologize," he chided. However, Emily even defied Lawrence. "You dump all the household chores on me, and then you have the nerve to lecture me? A wimpy guy like you, I could take you down in a second." Emily continued her tirade, hurling abuse at everything in sight, causing trouble for everyone. Eventually, she passed out from the alcohol and finally quieted down, but the atmosphere was tense. Everyone was angry at Emily. Then one of the relatives started a conversation. Emily mentioned earlier about defeating classmates. Was she a former delinquent? "No, Emily graduated from a public university. I thought she was a serious person at heart," Lawrence responded, but that relative remained skeptical. "Do we have concrete proof that she's lived a straight life? Perhaps we should investigate Emily's past and what kind of person she is." I agreed with this suggestion. Perhaps taking this incident seriously, Lawrence promised to look into it. Since Emily had lost her parents and had few connections with her relatives, he hired a private investigator. The investigation revealed that Emily was quite rebellious during her middle school years and was the leader of a delinquent group. She was such a notorious bad girl that even the famous local hooligans followed her orders. From the time she was in 9th grade, due to the thoughts of her future, Emily started to behave more seriously on the surface. She graduated from a public university, but she never cut ties with her rowdy group of friends. Even now, when Lawrence is away at work, Emily invites these unruly friends over to their house. What's worse, they make such a commotion that it has become a nuisance to the neighbors. Emily was merely concealing her true nature. She was quite the troublemaker indeed. Frustrated by this, Lawrence broached the subject of divorce. However, Emily cried and pleaded, "I'm sorry, I'll become serious from now on. Please forgive me. I absolutely need you, Lawrence. Please don't divorce me." And even changed back to her old attire. She even took out her smartphone and deleted her friends' contact numbers right in front of Lawrence. She apologized over the phone to the relatives who were bothered by her during the New Year's gathering. She also called me to apologize several times. If she's willing to go to such lengths, Lawrence thought about reconsidering. As a result, they didn't divorce and decided to continue their married life. Lawrence is the one married to Emily, and I thought it's not good for parents to interfere too much, so my husband and I decided to respect Lawrence's decision. In fact, when I met Emily again at the family summer gathering, she had become a serious woman. I thought things would be okay like this, but one day while I was at my part-time job, I lifted a heavy object. The instant I did that, I felt an intense pain in my back, and I couldn't move at all. Other staff members hurriedly took me to the hospital, and it turned out to be a pretty severe case of back strain, so I was told to rest for a while. When I informed Lawrence about this over the phone, I got this reply. "Why don't you use this opportunity to live with us, me and Emily? Of course, along with Dad too. We'd all live together. Given your ages, incidents like these, injuries or illnesses, are bound to increase. It'd be better if me and Emily were around to help when something happens." When I thought about it, it made sense. Around the time my back pain healed, my husband and I, along with Lawrence and Emily, discussed and officially decided to live together. My husband and I live in a spacious single-family home, and there would be no issues with 4 of us living there. So Lawrence and Emily moved in with us, and we started living together. Initially, everything was going smoothly. Emily was doing half the household chores, which greatly reduced my workload. My husband and I would contribute from our paychecks, giving about $3,000 to the household every month. I work part-time and can't give much, but I wanted to reduce the financial burden on Lawrence and Emily as much as possible. However, Emily slowly started changing her behavior. First, she would say she's not feeling well and started pawning off household chores onto me. At first, I believed Emily and did most of the chores for her, but she seemed perfectly fine. She's been eating well, even going for second helpings at meals, and she looks healthy. Moreover, she has been going out all day long under the pretext of having fun. I couldn't help but ask, "Emily, I hate to say this, but are you really feeling unwell? You seem quite lively and you're out a lot." When I dared to ask this, Emily glared at me fiercely. "What? Are you doubting me? If you pull any more stunts, I'll punch you in the face." I was dumbfounded. What coarse language! It became clear at that moment that she was not at all remorseful. She must be pretending to have changed her ways because she doesn't want to break up with Lawrence. However, she was just pretending. Emily, perhaps thinking that I was scared, scoffed at me. "Scared, are ya? Well, that's not surprising. I've been playing the quiet girl until now, but I'm done with that. From now on, I'm going to let my personality shine. You know what will happen if you resist, right?" Emily must have intimidated others like this back in her student days. Perhaps because she was able to manipulate others into doing as she wanted, she continues this behavior into adulthood. It would be a lie to say I'm not afraid of Emily, but I didn't live 62 years just for show. I won't bow down to the threats of this former gangster. Maintaining a firm attitude, I warned her coldly. If your harassment goes too far, it could become a crime, you know. I'm not your robot to do as you command. I won't just do as you say. If you do something, I won't hesitate to call the police. Emily seemed taken aback by my unexpected response, but she quickly retorted, "Shut up, old hag. I'll never forgive you." Emily's shouting startled David and Lawrence, who came running. They were at home because it was a day off. When I explained the situation briefly, both David and Lawrence frowned. For the moment, it was decided to have a discussion among the four of us. David told Emily, "First of all, apologize to Susie." However, Emily refused to apologize. Instead, she crossed her arms defiantly. "Why do I have to apologize to an old hag? I thought Susie would take care of the housework, so I decided to live together. But my burden hasn't lessened as I thought. It's now the worst. What's wrong with getting angry at a useless old hag who only ages?" David, Lawrence, and I were all dumbfounded. How selfish can she be to move in with such motives? Then Emily said something even more shocking. "No matter what anyone says to me, I won't change. From now on, you all will become my hands and feet. Oh, but I don't need Susie and David. You're old hags who don't even do housework, so get out of the house." Hearing this, I was finally truly angry. I've had enough of this woman. I firmly resolved to take my revenge. My husband seemed to feel the same intense anger. Uncharacteristic for my usually calm husband, his face was flushed with fury. Then he said, "Should we move out now?" Feeling the same urge to distance myself from Emily immediately, I nodded and said, "Yes, let's do that." Then my husband and I quickly packed our stuff and left immediately. Even though we said we were moving, I couldn't take large items like dressers, so we decided to come back for them another day. Lawrence said that he still had things to discuss with Emily, so he decided to stay at the house. My husband and I headed to a cheap business hotel for the time being. We don't own another house, and we didn't want to impose on our friends, so we decided to stay there until we find a new place. The next day, from 8 in the morning, Emily started calling my cell phone. I thought I should ignore it and left it be, but she was so persistent, calling 20 times in just 1 hour. Although I regretted not blocking her calls, I was slightly curious about what she wanted, so I decided to answer just once. "Hello, is this Susie? Actually, I have a favor to ask of you." Emily's voice, sounding all cutesy, came from the other end of the phone. I instantly realized she was up to no good, and to be honest, it was creepy. From serious face to bad girl, now acting all cutesy? I found myself wondering just how many personalities this woman has. One thing for certain, I can't trust Emily no matter what personality she presents. Deciding it was a waste of time to continue this conversation, I simply said no thanks. I hung up, blocked her calls, and blocked her on all messaging apps so she couldn't contact me. My husband, watching my actions, did the same. We, as a couple, decided to permanently ignore all communication from Emily. In the afternoon, this time Lawrence called. "Mom, I've divorced Emily. I left the house early this morning, and I've just submitted the divorce papers. Last night, when I told Emily that I wanted a divorce, she said, 'Try if you can,' so I didn't hesitate and did it." Upon hearing that, I thought my son had made a wise decision. Being with a woman like that would never bring happiness. Instead, I told him that Emily had called, and for some reason, she was acting all cutesy. Lawrence, after hearing this, told me with a look of disgust. "You know, back in her rebellious phase, Emily would act all cute to make up whenever things got awkward with her boyfriend. She's really dumb if she thinks that kind of childish tactic would work now that we're all adults." I completely agreed with him. Emily may have a decent educational background, but she's immature and arrogant. We thought we made the right choice in cutting ties with her, but Lawrence's story didn't end there. "Actually, Emily's been cheating too." "What? Really?" I was genuinely surprised. I couldn't believe that she had the audacity to cheat on top of her already horrendous behavior. I suspected that Emily's claims about being ill were false. She seemed perfectly healthy and was going out too frequently. I thought she was hiding something else, so I hired a private investigator. Turns out she's been cheating with a guy we don't know. I even have photos as proof. Looking at the photos Lawrence sent to my phone, I saw Emily kissing a young man in public. The man had green hair and seemed very flashy. I told Emily that I'd sue her for damages, and I fully intend to. I'm going to claim damages from her affair partner as well. Emily acted all cool when I told her, though. Then, why did she call me, I wonder? Who knows? I think she probably wanted to know where I was after I moved out. Emily never thought I'd actually leave. She thought if she acted tough and intimidating, I'd stay by her side. But now that I'm really gone, I think she panicked and tried to win me over. I sighed. No matter the reason, I would never help a person like that. I wish she could experience loneliness all on her own. Eventually, my husband Lawrence and I found a new apartment. We decided to live there together. We considered forcing Emily out and living in our old house, but it would be too large for Lawrence to live alone after we pass away. Besides, there's a chance it could end up being vacant in the future. Vacant properties can cause various problems, so we thought it would be better to sell it off. Lawrence agreed, saying, I don't necessarily need to live in the house. Selling it is fine with me. Emily will lose her place to live, but we didn't care about that. We still have a lot of our stuff in the old house, so we decided to go back there with some relatives who offered to help us move. Upon entering the house, there was Emily, wearing a sickeningly smug grin on her face. I realized when I was alone, I really can't handle loneliness. So, wouldn't you all live together again? Also, I want to save some money, and I really don't want to pay Lawrence for any alimony. Without an apology at this point, her audacious request made my anger boil over. When you make a request, you should do so with some humility. Stop this joking around. No matter how you ask, I won't listen to your pleas. Then my husband David chimed in coldly. We are going to sell this house, so leave as soon as possible, and pay Lawrence the alimony he deserves. I could never love you again. Stop trying to rekindle our relationship. Lawrence echoed. At that, Emily dropped her flirty facade. Lawrence has a stable income, so I thought if we got married, I could relax and become a housewife. But now there's not a shred of ulterior motive. I truly love Lawrence. Of course, I also need you, Susie and David. No matter what she said, our anger, mine, David's, and Lawrence's, wouldn't abate. Rather, it just kindled more rage. At that moment, a silent relative who had been observing the situation couldn't stand it any longer and interjected. Emily, you are such a despicable woman. If you have so much to say, why don't we settle this in a fair fight? You seem pretty confident about your strength. I'll have you know I competed in a national karate competition. The relative swiftly stepped closer to Emily, staring her down. They radiated an imposing aura. This relative, a person in their 30s, was renowned for their physical strength. The part about competing in a karate competition was true. We had called them in case Emily decided to cause trouble. Even Emily, sensing the threatening vibe, whimpered, No, I don't want to fight. After you move out, never bother Susie and the rest again. You better leave quickly. And before you do, apologize properly, the relative warned in a low voice. Emily, suddenly becoming more understanding, quickly responded, Yes, I understand. I'll leave right away. All my large belongings, I'll leave them all here. I'm really sorry. She groveled, hastily packing up her belongings and leaving. Seeing this, the relative smirked. Emily can only act tough with those she thinks are weaker than her. When faced with someone she perceives as stronger, she becomes a submissive, spineless person, they observed. David, Lawrence, and I, recalling Emily's retreating figure, burst into laughter. With the pest gone, our moving preparations proceeded smoothly, and we managed to relocate to our new home without a hitch. After that, Emily rented an apartment and started living alone. As warned, Lawrence filed a claim for alimony. Perhaps due to the involvement of a lawyer, both Emily and her lover readily paid up. The person she was dealing with was a lawyer, someone who seems to hold significant power, and I suppose that's why she readily agreed. As my relative said, it seems she can't take a stand against someone stronger than herself. Since then, I have had nothing to do with Emily, but I do know what she's been up to. It was reported on the news that she was arrested. Combining the news reports, information I heard from acquaintances, and my own experiences, it seems Emily has led the following kind of life. Firstly, Emily used up most of her savings paying alimony. She planned to remarry the man she cheated with and live off of his income, but he cut off all contact. Left with no other choice, she took a job at a private company, but quickly quit after cursing at her boss. After that, she shamelessly approached me, my husband, and Lawrence at our workplaces asking for money. But the three of us completely ignored her and didn't engage with her at all, so it seems she eventually gave up. She accrued debt and finally ran out of money, and she turned to her old gang for help, but no one seemed willing to lend a hand to the fallen Emily. In a fit of rage, Emily assaulted one of her gang members quite severely and was arrested, ending up in prison. My husband, Lawrence, and I all felt that she got what she deserved. She's been causing trouble since her student days, only caring about maintaining her facade, never showing any remorse. A woman like that, it seems fitting that her place is in prison. I hope she takes this time to reflect on her actions. On the other hand, my husband, Lawrence, and I are living peaceful, everyday lives. The three of us are living happily together, and we're even planning to take a trip on our next long weekend. Moreover, cleaning is much easier in our apartment compared to a detached house, and it's conveniently located near the station. I think we made the right decision moving here. We want to continue enjoying our peaceful life as a family of three.